What's up, guys? It's Mila from C.O.C. Network. This is Clash of Clubs-ish, and I'm going to be going over my final Premier League predictions for the 2026-27 season. I'm going to try to run through it quicker than Grant and Dylan. I feel like I just talk less than them, so that'll help. Starting with the relegation, I'm going with Hull City. I think in 20th, Hull City is my easiest pick of this entire table. Um, Personally, I think they have the least prepared squad for the Premier League. Just weakest of the promoted sides, and they can't really compete, in my personal opinion. I really don't think any of the current Premier League teams are going to drop lower than them, and I think of the promoted sides, they're the weakest. So that one's simple for me. Right after that, Coventry, for a lot of similar reasons, they are better on paper than Hull, and they have some players that could rise up to the occasion. I don't see Frank Lampard having the ability, though, to take his players that he has further than the rest of the teams in the league. Um, I just don't. I don't see the core that they have being able to scrape enough points to survive in the Premier League. So that's why I have them at 19th, going down. At 18th, I have a shocker. I think if you guys were in the live that we did, you might know my hot pick. But if you don't, I have Newcastle going down. I think when your coach leaves so abrupt, when you lose your captain and then one of your more elite midfielders as well, you lose Gordon, and you don't really replace any of that. I think it's grim. Um, and they already felt like they were regressing from where the the footing that they gained in the past seasons. So to me, this is make or break, and I don't think they're gonna make it. Um, I don't see them being able to replicate the teams of seasons ago, and I think there's too much negativity surrounding the squad and uncertainty. So I have them getting relegated, and I know that is a crazy pick for many. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But if I'm right, um, so yeah, Newcastle at 18th. At 17th, I have Ipswich. I think of the promoted sides, they are the best equipped, and I have them just edging out Newcastle. Um, I think they've been prepping to come back into the Premier League since they left. They've picked up Premier League experienced players. They've picked up good youth players, and they kept the players that performed well in the Premier League last time they were here. Um, yeah, so Ipswich at 17. 16, I have Leeds also surviving relegation again. Fark has them playing some pretty good footy, but I still don't think on paper they really have enough to become a more of a mid-table team. I think they're just going to be comfortably outside the relegation at 16. Um, Nottingham at 15. They do have Glasner now, but you lose a player like Anderson, and it's a big shock to the system. I don't think they replace him. So I just don't have them performing very well. I don't think there'll be any scare of relegation, in my opinion. Um, but I fail to see a plethora of goals coming from them. Diomande coming in might make them a lot more defensively strong, but I don't have hope for them. I think they're also just a shit show in general. At 14, I have Crystal Palace. They have a new coach. Glasner was really good for them, and things spiraled out of control towards the end publicly, and it's not something you want to see. I think they will struggle a bit to maintain that 12th, 11th place area and drop off slightly. They've brought in some exciting players. I think Gozo is the one I'm going to keep my eye on the most. And They have some good defenders. I think they'll be players to watch certainly on their team, but I'm not expecting them to push up the table. I am actually expecting them to stay in and around where they are or maybe drop. At 13, I have Sunderland. They were incredible last season. I do see a bit of a drop off coming. I don't think they really strengthened at all, and I think the rest of the league has in some way. Also, teams can adjust to Sunderland. That might not be as favorable to them this season. So I'm looking at them 13th. Bournemouth, they finished 6th. They have Europe. I think they're going to regress a bit. I think losing Alex Scott is potentially an issue, but they always recruit well. They have good players. I just don't know if they'll be able to really reach with balancing the extra tournament as well as a new coach because their coach went to Liverpool. 11, Brentford. It's simple for me. I don't think Igor Thiago puts up as many goals as he did last season. And I don't see them being able to replace those goals. So some might say it was lucky for them last season. They looked bad at times. They looked okay at times. I don't see them doing anything special this year. I think 11th, right at the top of the bottom half of the table, is where I see them, especially with the other teams that I have in mind above them. Um, Everton at 10, dead smack in the middle. I think they'll be good. They seem to find some stability. Interesting to see who they may pick up, but I just see them being a consistent bang average. And I'm sure they'll be a pain in the ass for many Premier League teams, but I'm sure they will also drop points unnecessarily at times. So yeah, Everton at 10th. All right, we're in the top half. 7 minutes in. So I think I'm making good time. Maybe go into some of these a little more. But yeah, let's get into it. Brighton at 9. Um, they're a good team. They have good players. They have European tax. I don't know if they're going to have an amazing season in the Premier League because of that, but I do think they'll certainly be in and around the conversation of a European spot for most of the season, and probably towards the end regress to that 9. Um, yeah, I don't have much to say about them actually. But the next team I do, Tottenham at 8. De Zerbi bounce back, basically. They are spending heavily. They're picking up Tonali. They picked up already blanking, picked up center back. They picked up Savio as of a couple hours ago, if you choose to believe the Here We Goes. Marmouche looks imminent. And it seems like there's a fresh brigade going into the new season for De Zerbi to work with, and players that might be able to match what output he needs. So I have them in 8th, and I think this is where I had them last season, but that was no, I don't think anyone expected them to have that relegation run, and I was definitely rooting for it at the end. But I do think they'll sit in and around 8th, especially focusing just on the Premier League. I think 8th would be a solid spot for Tottenham. And we'll see. We'll see if they can get goals out of the guys that they're trying to pick up. Personally, Savio, 2 goals last year in the Premier League. The money they're paying, as a City fan, I am very, very happy. And to get Marmouche's wages off the books would be phenomenal. I don't really understand where they think the goals are coming from, if it's Kudus, Marmouche, and Savio. Maybe this unleashes them. Maybe consistent minutes for Marmoush unleashes him. Maybe the same can be said for Savio with less pressure on him. But there will be pressure if he goes for 90 plus. So yeah, Tottenham in eighth. Let's see if they fall apart miserably again. I think De Zerbi will be a little bit better. It's seventh. I think this is probably one of my bigger gambles outside of Newcastle getting relegated, and that is Fulham. They've brought in Arbeloa and they've brought in Gonzalo Garcia. And if you've watched us talk about Real Madrid this few times we have on the channel, I think you know that both Alex and Shabman are big fans of Gonzalo Garcia. And we're basically begging for him to get minutes in that Real Madrid team. And there was just really no way for him to be inserted there. He really got his most shine in the beginning of that season. So Arbeloa has a kid he's worked with in the youth academy, and he gets to unleash him on the Premier League. And I think, along with the core that they have, I think they picked up Shea Charles. I think that one's going under the radar for people that don't know. Shea Charles is a Man City academy graduate. He is a very, very good midfielder, solid, very technical, um, and also has some versatility in his positioning throughout the field. So I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on him, along with Bob and the rest of that Fulham team, because Arbeloa can make it exciting for them. So yeah, risky one, but there you have it. Fulham at seventh. At sixth, I have Liverpool. You're losing Salah. You have a new coach again, and I just don't see the team you currently have being able to produce a result that really pushes into the top five of this Premier League race. It's going to be difficult. I think replacing what Salah was is virtually impossible, and especially that output. So you're going to need a lot of players in the team to just generally step up and find that elsewhere, not from one person, but many people. And I don't know if I personally believe that Iraola can bring that out of them. I feel like Liverpool fans will be upset by this, but maybe understanding. Um, Liverpool fans, if you do see this, let me know what your expectations are for your club. Do you think I am underestimating what you have, or is this spot on? The next one, Chelsea. I didn't even watch Grant's prediction yet, so I don't know where he put them, but I feel like he'll be fine with this. Maybe not, but I have them in five. I think they have a lot of talent, but there's some uncertainty, and they most definitely can shoot up to a fourth or third place finish, only focusing on one tournament this year. But you just don't know. Xabi Alonso's at the wheel. They've been in turmoil for some time now, and it's really time to steady the ship, which is why I have them at five. I think five would be steadying the ship. A push for four and above would probably be ideal, but five will probably get you into the Champions League. I'm interested. I want to see what happens with this team. I want to see Morgan Rogers, Cole Palmer. I will hate watch João Pedro. I will. I'm interested to see how their defense performs. Um, yeah, this Chelsea team could be very interesting, and I think we'll see what Xabi Alonso is really capable of as a manager again. Um, he showed it at Leverkusen and then went to a Madrid team that was kind of all over the place with a lot of personalities and egos, which is really not what he's worked with before. I think this young squad that Chelsea have of talent and just guys trying to make their mark in the Premier League will be a lot more suited to what he's trying to do, and they'll buy in more. Um, on top of that, I've talked about it before. There is a level of respect that comes with Xabi Alonso being the manager compared to someone like a Liam Rossinier. I think just based off his his playing career, he has that respect. And then you look at his unbeatable season with Leverkusen, and that respect grows. So these players are dealing with a different type of coach, different type of manager now, and I want to say that they will give him the respect he deserves, and that they will buy into his tactics, his philosophies, and that they will be able to steady the ship. I'm not going to say that they'll go far this season. I don't think they will go far this season, but I do think we'll see some sparks of what they are trying and want to build. And it really is just about consistency at this point for Chelsea, because what we've seen them lack over the past years is that consistency. There's times where you look at them and they look like they're going to be top of the table, or at least fighting for it. And then, like we saw last year, it just all goes out the door. And whether that be internal issues with front office and the management, sure, but there's there's an expectation and a standard that comes with Chelsea, and that hasn't been there for some years. I think Xabi Alonso will right the ship, and they just need to back him. So that's why I have him at 5. At 4, I have Aston Villa, and this might be a bit of a shout because they've lost Rodgers and Tielemans, but I'm trusting Emery. I think they've brought in Yao Gomez to supplement what Tielemans was, and Monzambi to try to get a bit more of an attacking threat in that team that will supplement the Rodgers hole. I do think they are linked with Harwood Bellis, which would bring them a bit more defensive stability or defensive options. I'm not sure if he'd start. But yeah, I do think that it might be a bit bullish to say fourth for Villa, but they've been consistent in this league. Emery is one of the most consistent point winners in this league as of recent. So I think it really just comes down to that. We saw that they have that young striker in the Super Cup, and yes, he had a lot of chances, but he eventually scored one, and he looked exciting. He looked strong, someone that could be very good in the Premier League. If Watkins does go, I definitely would look at him getting more minutes. He shouldn't be the main starter, but he should definitely be looked at for some minutes. I'd be interested to see if they go in for a striker before the window closes. But yeah, I do think Emery will be able to bring them consistency that the rest of the league cannot promise. So I think that fourth for Villa is safe. Next at third, I have Man United. I have Carrick momentum continuing. I think they have signed very well in the transfer window. They've picked up Tielemans. They have picked up, I'm going to blank now. They picked up Santos. They have picked up, they're working on picking up Baleba, or they just picked up Baleba. They've done a lot to rebuild that midfield. And I do think they will benefit from that. I think Baleba is a big one in terms of what everyone thought they were missing for the Tielemans signing, and now they have depth in that midfield. Bruno Fernandes does not have to play any deeper. He can be more of an attacking player, and those guys can do their jobs and actually perform in the 6 and 8 positions. I'm sure Manu will play. It'll be interesting. I think it is a bit much for Carrick to be asked to balance Champions League as well as just a full season, and I'm interested to see how it'll play out. But I do think they are capable, especially with the new additions. So yeah, Man United in third, Arsenal in second. If you didn't see this coming, you're a fool. But I do think it's a safe bet. They are. I'll talk about the positives for them. They just won their trophy. So, in theory, there's a gigantic weight off of them that is going to allow them to play more freely, to not worry so much about these drop points, these making high pressure situations for themselves. they basically kept most of their team, if not most of their team. They kept most of their team. And they've added Bruno G, who's one of the best midfielders in the league. He brings a level of aggression, a level of deep lying playmaking that I'm sure Arsenal will certainly benefit from. But I just think they're maintaining their level. And as our viewers know, I don't think their level's very, very good. Even though they went far in multiple tournaments last year, I'm just a hater to my core. So I have them in second. I do think that they are going to have a target on their back. And I know some Arsenal fans are not happy with this take, but as someone that has watched a team win many trophies and seen how teams get up to play their team, I can promise you you'll have a target on your back. Everyone wants to beat the champions, and congratulations, you're the champions. But your squad needs to be prepared to face a battle every week. You'll see players playing out of their mind that don't normally play out of their mind. You'll see bangers, and knowing your keeper, that's going to be a problem. So I got you in second, and that is very, very optimistic for my team, but that is where you are. And at first, Man City, I think this is pretty clear I was going to go there. This is probably wild for a lot of you, and I'm sure I'm going to hear it in the comments. Feel free. Yes, we lost Pep. Yes, we lost Rodri. Yes, we lost Bernardo. Stones in the leadership area is a loss for sure. But I've talked about standards a lot on this channel, and I think that's exactly what Man City have set over the past 15 years. They've set standards for their club. In a Premier League, fighting for the championship is always the minimum. Fighting. Yes, we consider the Premier League a victory. It is a big accomplishment to win it, but the expectation is to be in or around it the entire season. Not the entire season, but every season. Um, Obviously, I would love to go far in all tournaments. Champions League, I'm not too worried about right now. I want consistency. I want to be back on the top of the table. I'm tired of seeing red on the ribbons, Liverpool, Arsenal. So I would like to see City back at the top, and I'm sure they'll make it hard, and I'm sure people will have plenty to talk about. But as of right now, August 20th at 7:36 Pacific Standard Time, we have a lot of signings to make, and I'm sure we will make them. I'm sure we'll spend 300 to 400 million and rattle everyone and their mother, but I'm here for it. We have enough outgoings. We have freed up enough wages to do this business, and I'm just looking forward to see who they sign. I think the negativity online around Viana is a bit much. We haven't even let the transfer window close yet, so let's relax. It is a little alarming that we haven't signed anyone, but we will. I am positive we will make signings. Hopefully they are the right signings, and I reserve judgment on Viana until then. But I think they got us. I think Maresca understands what it means to be here. I think a lot of people are emotional because of the Pep documentary. Granted, I haven't watched it yet, and that's on purpose. I don't want to watch that going into Maresca's first game. I think that is going to sully a lot of what this occasion is. We haven't had a new manager in 10 years. And this guy understands what it means to be City. So I'm looking forward to see how he can adapt and what players he can bring into the fold. And I think lastly, Nico G needs to stay. I am a Nico G stan, and I will be until the end of his career. And I would like him to stay. I really hope we don't fuel Newcastle with him, because that will also ruin my relegation prediction for them. But yeah, Man City, blue ribbons back on the Premier League trophy. This has been Mila, Clash of Clubs, COC Network. Thank you.